Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it's so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
Well, that didn't end very well. No, sirree. And in controversial fashion, the Bolts fall 3-2 in overtime in a crucial Game 4 that will go down in infamy. Welcome to the J.P. Peterson Show, brought to you by the law offices of Christopher Palermo at PalermoPA.com. A lot of emotions going through myself and you Lightning fans after the game last night and throughout the game. It was one of the most nerve-wracking games I think I can ever remember. On the edge of my seat the entire time. And the way that it ended was completely inappropriate on so many levels, with so much at stake, with so much money on the line for a lot of different people, so much emotion on the line, people invested. For it to end like that with a goal that to the people in the arena didn't even know it was scored, and then a delayed celebration, many Lightning fans going, what the F just happened? And then after that, finding out that there were 6 men on the ice in a crucial way, by the way. And I can't believe watching Get Up this morning, PK Subban, their expert and analyst, said it had nothing to do with the play. What? Kadri gets off the bench a good 4 seconds before McKinnon gets to the bench. He's 50 feet away, and he gets into the play already. Like into the play, receiving the puck before McKinnon is over the boards or even close to the boards. Goes in and scores a great goal. His point that the defenseman was there, yeah. But, when there's 6 men on the ice, and the only reason he scores that goal is because he's in that position. Had he waited till McKinnon got to the bench, he would have been by the bench. So how in the hell can you say it had nothing to do with the goal? That's got to be the dumbest thing I've ever heard on television. And when it's coming from a player that is still playing, it really raises a few eyebrows. But whatever. Let's get back to the call itself. And I want to welcome in Nick Geddes from Outkick.com this morning. I'm apoplectic this morning on so many levels. And I would just want to go out and say that, look, Colorado played a very good game last night and in some ways deserved to win. They were certainly the better team in overtime. I wouldn't say they were the better team in the 3 periods. But that's a tough one to swallow in that situation.
Immediately last night, I wasn't mad. Even when there was all the reaction to the goal last night, which, believe me, I saw all of it and I waited to comment till today about it to kind of digest it. But immediately I just had this sense of sadness. I don't know. I just had sadness last night. Like, I've been through a lot of these losses as a fan. We all have.
Yeah.
And I saw John Cooper's presser, which is right here actually on our TV.
Yeah.
And you could see the sadness in his voice.
Yeah.
Which is very, I guess, unlike what we hear from John Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
And you could see, and he said it, this one stings more than every other loss we've had. And I think it really did. And everybody's caught up in the goal, and we're going to talk about it. Do I hate the way the game ended? Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Did I get the feeling it was coming? Yeah, I did.
Agreed.
And I think that's where my sadness comes from, is the Lightning in the end of the 3rd period in overtime. Because now the series is 3-1. And listen, they're not winning 3 in a row. Let's just be honest.
It's a 91% chance that team wins, and it's even higher when 2 of those games have to be in Colorado.
Yeah, let's be honest about it. Winning 3 in a row it's going to take a miracle. We'd say the same thing if the Lightning were up 3-1. We'd come here today and we would say there's no way anybody's beating the Lightning 3 games in a row. So I guess knowing all of that, the sadness came over that it just felt like the end. It's kind of what it felt like. That was like the dagger in the Lightning's like dynasty run here. That's what that goal felt like. And just the way they played in overtime, how slow they were moving, out of gas.
Yeah.
It was very reminiscent of game 2.
They couldn't get a shot on Darcy Kemper, who was in most of the third period, the end of the third period, and the overtime. They could not sustain any pressure in the offensive zone whatsoever. They were losing every puck battle. It was just a completely different team than we saw in the first period. And I even said it during our intermission report at Amalie, that the fact that you outshoot them 17-4 and only you're up, they were up 1-0.
Yeah.
I just felt like, wow, we needed more there. And 2 goals is not, and now even after they went up 2-1, it seemed to me, I don't know if it was if they got tired or lost their jump at that point or went into complete shutdown mode. It seemed to me though that they did not have many offensive chances after that. Even though they ended up, I think, with 38 shots on the night, I think they were outshot 11-3 in overtime. The overtime was just like, it looked like game 2.
Yeah, it did. And that's where I'm saying the sadness came in. You just felt like, man, this team, you can make all the adjustments in the world, but sometimes the team's just better.
Yeah.
It's just better. And let's be honest with ourselves here. How many periods have the Lightning look like the better team? Even in the game 3 victory, 6-2, that was not 7-0, the domination. 6-2, Colorado still had their chances.
Yeah, they had their chances, but I think it was a pretty dominant win.
It was,
but not on level with the 7-0. But again, when it gets to 5-0, it's like whatever. 4-0, it's kind of whatever. But yes, I would agree with all those things, and I think we're being very objective about this. And I do really, really try to be objective about the Lightning and all of our local teams here, folks. And I scrutinized myself in saying, because when I heard Subban say that this morning, I was like, is he right? Is he kind of right that there were 2 defensemen right there? But the bottom line is, Kadri does not get involved in the play if he's with the legal change is within 5 feet of the bench, right?
Yeah, it's 5 feet.
That's the legal change. It's 5 feet of the bench. He was
42 feet.
42 feet out, and he's actually in a prime scoring position. So it absolutely had something to do with the play. It was integral to the play.
Yeah, because all those seconds that allows him to get in perfect position for the tape pass there from the defenseman. Yes. And I know everybody's saying, well, he thought Nichushkin was coming off because Nichushkin kind of looked like he was flirting with coming back to the bench, but then he turned back over, and it was McKinnon who was coming over. McKinnon was on the other side of the ice at the time that happened. So
and typically McKinnon and Kadri will change. They're playing the same position.
Yeah, you would typically see that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know how you miss it. I mean, I looked at it. There's no referee really looking at it. They're all kind of looking at the puck, which, I mean, I'm not going to blame them. I think what you saw, though, and this happened in the third period, there were multiple calls missed on both teams in the third period.
Yes. The officiating was atrocious last night.
Decided, okay, it's 2-2. It's a Stanley Cup final. We're not going to be the reason why this game ends. That's what they kind of tried to do.
Yeah.
And I think when you do that and you let too much go, you end up having an impact on the game.
Yeah,
adversely.
It's like the Saints play. Where the refs don't want to call the interference, but then you're not making a call that's absolutely
So that's the thing. I mean, it hurts as a Lightning fan and for the Lightning in general to lose like that. But again, being objective, I've asked the question: did anybody really think the Lightning were going to win the game at that point?
Well, I mean, did think. Let me push back on that a little bit. How many games in overtime have we seen where one team is dominating, especially when you got a crappy goalie like Darcy Kemper? If they call too many men on the ice there and we're still playing, we have an opportunity to win the game. It's an overtime game.
Yeah,
you go on the power play. Again, number one.
What's the Lightning power play giving confidence?
Yeah, but come on, let's get.
There was nothing.
Okay,
there was
then it
nothing
was
in overtime that told me the Lightning were going to win that game.
Yeah, but it happens all the time. It happens all the time. I would submit to you that the Lightning were playing the better hockey in game one at the end, and they lost in overtime. They had a couple of good chances, even in the third period. They were pushing before the penalties came up.
But there was just no push. There was no push. Did the Lightning have one?
In game one. I'm saying that in game one,
in this overtime,
the Lightning were coming back, and there was a short overtime in game one, obviously, but they had a couple of chances after the power play.
Yeah, they did, but
even had a shorter chances, and I thought they played better in the third period. They were the better team in the third period.
Yeah, but in this overtime,
and then
period,
my point is they got a quickie. They got lucky.
That.
So why couldn't that happen to the Lightning?
Well, I think every game's differently. In this game, You cannot tell me the Lightning, the way they played the third period and the way they played in overtime, that they really had much of a shot there. They were holding on for dear life.
It's hockey. You need a couple of, especially with a crappy goalie down there. You get it.
Yeah, he was pretty good last night.
Yeah, all right. I'll give him a little. He was better than he was, and he got the assist on that. He got an assist on the goal. So yeah, he was better, no question about it. But the Lightning would have had a chance, and in hockey, you just need one chance, especially in overtime.
Yeah, you need puck.
So
luck,
I'm not going to say
if
they were never going to win that game. That's just silly. So but Colorado was the better team. I agree with that. But still, I mean, they're officials out there for a reason. Make the effing call. It's as plain as day. It's as plain as day. And I've seen people say, well, the Lightning had 7 people on the ice. Yeah, the other 2 were right next to the bench going over.
Yeah, they were in the 5 feet
that's the way you're
rule.
supposed to change.
Yeah, they were in the 5 feet.
Yeah, there was a clear violation of the 5-foot rule. It wasn't even close. And here's the other thing. Kadri knows damn well he was out early. He knows he was out early. D knows damn well he was out early, and he did it for a reason. And don't tell me he didn't, because I call bullshit on that. Guys know what they're doing. He knew he was going in for McKinnon. He knew he was coming off when he was coming on the ice. Come on. That's a no-brainer. So they cheated. They cheated and they won. And they were allowed to get away with it. I can't accept that and I'm not saying that the officials wanted Colorado to win. It's not what I'm saying at all. I think it's more about what you said. They didn't want to decide the game. But that's when you're calling penalties. 6 men on the ice in that situation, it's an absolute no-brainer call. And they missed it. They freaking missed it. All right, let's hear John Cooper in a very emotional post-game press conference. I've never seen him like this. He was crushed. Clearly, he believed it had something to do with the play. So let's hear from John Cooper.
John, how disappointing was it to get out of that first period with just 1 goal? And did that push maybe take a little bit out of you as that game went on?
I don't even think you heard the question.
I thought we had a really strong first. I mean, we had the lead. I love this league. It's the greatest league in the world. The people that run it are amazing. Everything about it, it's like a dream come true for me, especially being a Canadian kid growing up and everything that's gone on. And a lot of times when you're, I've been part of some heartbreaking losses and defeats to teams that took us out, and been with a group that just fights and fights and fights, and they fought their way to a 3rd Stanley Cup final in a row. And in a cap era, when it's so damn hard and the rules are put against you, because the league wants parity. And I love that about the league. And that's what makes it tougher. And just watch this team and what they've gone through and the battling that's gone on, and we're all in this together. Players, coaches, refs, everybody. But it just this one's going to sting much more than others, just because I think it was taken on. It was potential. I don't know. It's hard for me. This is going to be hard for me to speak. I'm going to have to speak. I'll speak with you tomorrow. You're going to see what I mean when you see the winning goal. And my heart breaks for the players, because we probably still should be playing. I'll be available tomorrow.
Which he will be speaking here a little bit and having a night to think about it. I know Cooper's, he's a very measured man, and he rarely puts blames on the officials. But this one's going to hurt. It's going to hurt.
I thought it was a very perplexing 2 minutes where he spoke there, kind of going across the map.
Yeah.
I think the emotion, like kind of how I said I felt sadness, I think he felt that same way.
Yeah, no question.
And it definitely came across his mind like, man, this feels like it's it.
Yeah.
He kind of just dawned on everything. That's how I felt. I don't know if I'm overreacting.
No, he knows it.
But I don't know
we
if
all
I'm
know
but last night, I'm not kidding you. I kind of 2015, where I say this run began, really. All those years kind of like flashed through me yesterday.
Yeah.
The way I saw the team play. I was like, man, this just feels it. This feels like it's it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. And I feel like Cooper kind of had that same feeling the way he talked about the team. Like, I feel like he was almost tearing up, kind of giving that answer. And then he leaves you with that cliffhanger at the end. Of course, everybody started digging. What is it? What is it? What is it? And then it became crystal clear what it was. And you don't see John Cooper make excuses like that.
Nope.
And you could tell he was kind of fighting it, because he even said he was about to say, like, they cost us. Then he's like, well, we'll talk tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I know he probably didn't want to go down that road, but he did. The line at the end is, we should still probably be playing. John, I don't think you would be playing at that point, because I think Colorado is going to score at some point. That's just my feeling on it. But yeah, a very strange John Cooper there for 2 minutes. Not what we're used to hearing. And I'm very curious to see what we get today.
I think with well, first of all, he's got to realize that the series is not over, which if he does, I mean, that sounded patronizing. But he's got to refocus, and I think that's what he's going to do. He's going to refocus and understand that the series is not over. And what can he say or do today to help his team win Game 5 in Colorado? That's going to be his number one objective. And what can he say and what can he do? If you belabor this, it ain't changing. It's not changing. So if you belabor it, you give your team a mental reason to not play Game 5, to not to give their best. You're still living in the past. But you have also, as a coach, a responsibility to stick up for your team.
Yeah.
And make sure that the officials know they effed up. And I don't care what you say. Every official who's ever trained in his life will tell you the same thing. There's no such thing as a makeup call. There's plenty of makeup calls. They happen. It's human nature. If it happens to go the Lightning's way on Game 5, so be it. But I think that's what John Cooper has got to do today, is move on. He's got to turn the page, just like any other bad loss. You got to turn the page, because it ain't changing. It ain't changing. Now, once the series is over, if you want to lament it a little bit more and discuss, how do four NHL officials miss this, then we could do that. If you want to discuss, should that be reviewable? 100% it should be reviewable. 100% it should be reviewable.
I would argue this in hockey, and honestly, every sport. I don't get it. I think everything should be every goal should be reviewable. Every goal should be reviewed. And I thought it was. I don't care if it's,
and I think they did review it. But again, this is too many men on the ice is not a reviewable grounds to overturn a goal. Yeah. Goalie interference.
But I feel like beyond this goal, there's so much controversy. I feel like during the regular season, during the playoffs, Stanley Cup final. Yes, I heard all the Calgary fans bitching yesterday. The puck was in 2004.
No, it wasn't.
I mean, they brought that up yesterday again. So
it's been proven that it wasn't, by the way.
But regardless, there's always this controversy that seems to last for a long time. And every fan base, hollers about it. At this point, I don't know how Gary Bettman could not try to figure something. He was in the building last night.
Yep.
He was in the building last night.
It's a black eye in the NHL.
It's a black eye.
Doubt.
And when he has his end of the season address, these questions need to be asked.
Yeah.
And you want to know what's curious too? For the folks who were up in the press box, they get the score sheet. The score sheet that the NHL types said that there were 6 players on the ice for Colorado.
That's a keeper.
And then 30 minutes later on the NHL website, it was changed to 5 players on the ice. So you're covering up your mistake.
That makes it look, the cover up is always worse than the deed. It's always worse than the deed. Always.
So
yeah, that was it. But luckily they handed out that one. So there is a living memory of it. I wish I had a copy of it, to be quite honest. But maybe.
Yeah, and I saw our boy Chuck was chilling next to Bettman during the game. I hope he said something.
What the hell was that, Gary?
Yeah.
How you end a game like that?
He'll ask the question.
Yeah, that's just stupid. That's just stupid. Why is that not reviewable? That's just dumb. I don't know, Gary. You need to fix that. You done screwed my man Cooper. That's terrible. That's terrible. Terrible, Gary Bettman. Anyway. Let's Eric Erlinson, our good friend Eric Erlinson, does a great podcast. I encourage you to go listen to his take on this on his podcast. We got a couple of clips that TJ Reeves sent to us, and TJ is going to join us here in a little bit. This is his take on the rule and what happened with 6 men on the ice. We're going to get to the other parts of this game as well, because they were equally as important. Maybe not equally.
Why can't that be reviewed?
Exactly.
It's not a reviewable play. The only plays that you can review are goals that result on an offside challenge, a goalie interference challenge, or a stoppage of play challenge. And stoppage of play does not include penalties. Stoppage of play is a hand pass or a high stick or a puck in the netting. We saw that earlier this year, right? Florida's Anthony Duclair scored one that hit the netting. Clearly hit the netting. They missed it. They had to challenge it. It gets overturned. Alex Killorn had a goal taken off the board in the series against Florida in Game 4. That a puck clearly hit the netting and stayed in play. So those are stoppages of play. A missed penalty call is not a stoppage. It's not considered a stoppage of play. I know, hey, but Eric, a penalty does stop the play, only if it's called. So you can't review it. You can't challenge it. You have to rely on the officials on the ice in these situations. And unfortunately, the Lightning have to live with it.
Here's the thing. Now, this was discussed when they're talking about reviewable plays. And I guarantee you this was the discussion. Well, 5 feet, how are we going to measure 5 feet? It's going to be, is it 6 feet? And it's reviewable? Are we going to overturn the goal? Is it 4 feet? Are we going to overturn the goal? Like, how do we actually determine 5 feet? So I get that. I did, when you're changing on the fly, which is the way, as far as I know, I think hockey is the only sport where you substitute on the fly. So there's part of, and there is always kind of a gray area. I get it. But when you call the penalty, what is the demarcation? If you're involved in the play, if you touch the puck, right? If you touch the puck and the guy's not off the ice, I don't know. Was Kadri touching the puck before McKinnon got off the ice? He's almost scoring before McKinnon got off the ice. So I think you can make a demarcation there. Does the player touch the puck before the other player gets off the ice? That's pretty cut and dried. And if that's the case, nullify the goal. Am I wrong?
No, I mean,
it's cut and dried.
Like I said, I mean, if we're really splitting hairs there on inches or feet or whatever, okay, I got you. Judgment call. But
42 feet
where we can, it's right there. And we have great video now. That's the beauty of it. We have great video that shows it. So yeah, it's a tremendously egregious missed call in any point, but especially in a Stanley Cup final in a swing game like that, it hurts. And yeah, I'm still being that I still think that at some point it was inevitable.
That argument is, while from 30,000 feet is probably correct. We'll agree with it. It has nothing to do with what we're talking about. You can't just say, "Oh, well, they were the better team, so don't make the call." What is that? What is that? We're talking about either you make the call or you don't make the call.
No, I got that, but
that's what we're talking about.
I get that the refs made a bad call, but I'm not Mr. Scream and Yell at the refs. The Lightning lost the game. I'm not like that, because the Lightning had their chances. You blew a 2-1 lead at home.
True.
You didn't play well in the third period.
True.
You were up 17-4 in the shots in the first period, and you got one goal. I'm sorry. I'm a big Lightning fan. I wish it went their way, but I'm going to be objective on it. The Lightning had their chances. You can't apologize for things in the Stanley Cup final. Sometimes things don't go your way. Last year, the Lightning scored a goal against the Islanders where they had 6 guys on the ice, and Barry Trotz lost his mind, and we didn't say anything about it because we're fans of Lightning. We want it to go our way.
When the 6 guys were on the ice, was the guy that scored the game-winning goal in overtime, did he have the puck take the puck in the offensive zone before the other guy got? No,
that makes
absolutely
it worse.
Not even close.
Yeah, that makes it worse.
Close. But look, I agree with you that they were owning the play, but that also switches in a moment in an NHL game. Plus, it's a power play. You're going on the power play. And I know the Lightning power play has not been great, but tell me it's not a little bit more pressure-packed for Darcy Kemper if it's an overtime power play. Absolutely. So, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I think it's a completely separate argument. It's a completely separate argument. Yes, they were the better team at that particular point of the game. There is no question. But we're talking about, should it have been a penalty? Should it have been called? Was it pertinent to this game? Of course it was. All of that is true. It was, yeah. All of that is true.
I think what you alluded to when you started the show with a former player saying that it had zero impact on the goal.
What was PK Subban saying?
I can't really
the most moronic thing ever.
I can't really wrap my head around that one.
Think he has a little something against the Lightning, maybe.
I mean, Maybe. I don't know. I'm not going to comment too much further on what he said there. But I'm just surprised they spent so much time talking about it on Get Up in the first place. So I guess you take your victories where you could get them.
Right. They finally talked about hockey during the Stanley Cup final. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. We have another cup from Eric.
I believe it continues on here to another. Since TJ did a great job of vetting it together here for us.
Thank you, TJ, for that. We'll see you in a bit.
In a lot of ways, it almost sounded like John Cooper gave a concession speech. Because it's going to be hard. This is a hole that is so difficult to dig out of for any team, let alone one that's playing in their third consecutive Stanley Cup final and the number of games that they have played. I'm not counting them out. I refuse to count them out until somebody puts dirt on them. But you could tell how much it meant because John Cooper is not normally that short in his post-game comments. And if there's controversy, he'll usually point it out in a manner in which it doesn't come off as snarky or controversial in his comments, right? Like he's not going to put himself in position to get fined for making bad calls, and maybe that was part of the emotion, and he kind of had to walk away from it. So that's what we have. We have some good old-fashioned officiating controversy in a league that continues to say they have the best officials in the world.
Or not. It's I will say this about hockey. It's a very tough game to officiate. Very tough. It moves very, very fast, and they do the best they can. But that was an egregious mistake in a key moment of a championship game, and you just can't have it. You've seen it happen. We've seen it happen in the NFL. We've seen it happen in the NBA. We've seen it across sports. So it happens, and you got to bounce back. But in this situation, that was quite frankly a concession speech. I think we all heard it, and I think the Lightning know it. But they've surprised us before. And they've shocked us before.
I haven't even pointed it out, but part of the reason why the Lightning might have gotten kind of boat race like they did in the third period in overtime, it is huge to lose Eric Chernak for two periods like that.
Yeah, five.
You're rotating through five defensemen. It's not ideal, obviously. And Cirelli also, it looks like he got cut.
Yeah, he got cut.
I heard he got cut like on his arm.
Yeah.
Which I was watching it in the bar, so I couldn't.
Killorn skate, I think.
I kind of saw him like react so late, and I was like, what the heck is that?
Yeah.
Then I heard he got cut. He couldn't even put his jersey on.
Yeah.
And that was big because he couldn't take faceoffs in the third period or overtime.
Right.
And so Hagel had to take those, and the Lightning had trouble winning faceoffs after that.
And that really hurt them because once Colorado gets the puck, they're so good managing the puck. It's hard to get it away from them. Yep. They're very crisp with their passing. Very detailed. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, TJ Reeves is going to join us, and we'll get his thoughts on this, and we'll hit on some other points of the game. The Rays gave one away last night as well. Not a good night in Tampa Bay sports at all. We'll recap that as well. Stay with us. The world economy is in chaos, and mortgage rates are going to go higher in the next few months. Meanwhile, home values are up 24% in some neighborhoods of Tampa Bay. Do not miss this opportunity to refinance your home, get some much-needed cash to handle skyrocketing inflation, and fill up your car. Contact Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Even if you've recently refinanced, Scott can make the deal work because he charges no lender fees like the big boys do. He will also shop your loan around to dozens of lenders and get the best rates and terms. Let them compete for your business. The big banks charge huge lending fees. Customer service is simply a phone number with endless wait times. Scott is local and will personally take your call. Here's his cell phone number. Tell him JP said you could call. 813-294-7595. Scott's done over 3,000 loans, including many coaches and athletes. He will answer your calls and concerns and give you workable strategies to be smart with your money. Reduce your payments. It's not just what you make, it's what you keep. 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. The health professionals at Bay Area Modern Medical Center want you to know it's time to commit to a new healthy lifestyle. It's literally a matter of life and death. 42% of Americans are considered obese, and being obese made you 3 times more likely to be hospitalized by COVID. So getting in shape is not just about looking better, it's about living much longer. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, they take a very different approach to primary care. It's personalized preventative medicine. Christopher Lugo and his experienced staff are proactive in looking at your issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle, building up your immune system, not destroying it with poor nutrition and bad habits. So call for an appointment, maybe change your primary care, and get on a journey back to full health and a happy life. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Have you purchased a home in the last 10 years and the stucco is starting to come loose from the upstairs portion? Well, that can cause some serious damage that you can't see until it's too late. Is it becoming an eyesore? Have you contacted the builder and just can't get any relief? That's very common here in Florida. So call the law offices of Christopher Palermo. They can help you. Call 813-221-5636. That's 813-221-5636. He's recovered millions for his clients. The law offices of Christopher Palermo at PalermoPA.com.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the law offices of Christopher Palermo. If you have any construction defects or stucco work that is not up to par, you can call him. Just contact him through PalermoPA.com. Get the email there or the phone number. Contact them. Free consultation. Find out if you have a case. A lot of substandard stucco work has been done in this area in the past 10 to 15 years. A lot of the big builders using some bad stucco, and it has resulted in a lot of damage to a lot of homes. But you don't know you have a case until you call Christopher Palermo. He is the expert, so go to PalermoPA.com and find out. All right, let's welcome in our good friend TJ Reeves, Bucs sideline guy, also working with Eric Erlinson on his podcast, his fine podcast. What's up, my friend? How are you?
Good morning. I figured you would want to hear some of that.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Can Palermo help solve the NHL and the officialing in the command center?
I think if anybody can, he's a huge Lightning fan.
Here's all I know. As big of a gut punch as that was, that it's the winning overtime goal for Colorado, and now it looks dire that you're going to be closed out in Game 5 on Friday. Long about midnight, and I didn't get to hear the very beginning. I heard like the last few minutes of your last segment. Long about midnight, all of a sudden, people are texting me and calling me going, "What is John Cooper talking about?" And full confession here, I don't have Bally Sports. I'm on Hulu Live in the Reeves house. So I'm not watching the Bally's postgame. I have watched ESPN's coverage leave the air with Scott Van Pelt and with Steve Levy and Barry Melrose Live. They have said nothing about 6 men on the ice. So the television broadcast is over. I'm looking online at a couple of things, and I'm about ready to go to bed. And suddenly I have people calling me and texting me, just like what you guys are doing, going, "Why can't they restart the game? Why can't they overturn this?" And I'm going, "What are they talking about?" And then I see the video still photos of 6 guys on the ice.
Yeah.
And it goes from there, and it's spun from there and from Cooper's comments. So there's 2 or 3 things that I know you're already sharing this, but I think they are essential. The first thing is, it is obviously the game-winning overtime goal in sudden death. On a scale of 1 to 10, that's a 17 in terms of significance.
Yes.
Point number 2, the culprit, the goal scorer in the 6 men on the ice is the guy coming off the bench, Nazem Kadri. The guy that scored the goal is the 6th guy coming on the ice. Horrific for them to have missed that. There is a linesman standing right in front of all of that on the Colorado bench that sees him come on with no one going off and should have blown his whistle and stopped things immediately when that happened. And again, when you go back and watch the play, it's about 3 seconds. Nathan McKinnon is in the offensive zone. You see that as the puck starts to come up the ice. I know some people are only hearing us or not seeing us. The puck starts to come up the ice, and McKinnon is in the offensive zone, the left high point of the offensive zone. And the Lightning, oh, by the way, have to account for him. That's the best player on Colorado's team.
Yes.
So when Kadri is the 6th guy, he skates to the middle of the ice and he gets the puck. McKinnon is nowhere near the bench. It has now been 6 men on the ice for like 3 seconds or 4 seconds.
Right.
But the most unforgivable part of that is what you were just alluding to and what you played the comments from Eric on. How can you not review that? How do you not have the mechanism in place to review that? It's 2022. It's not 1992, much less 1972.
Yeah.
How can you not review that when you're reviewing offside and you're reviewing goalie interference and you're reviewing whether or not the puck went out of the rink? And he aptly on that podcast points out we've had a couple of goals already in the Stanley Cup series, plural, with the Lightning that have been overturned on a review of what happened. Maddening, JP. Yeah. So I'm like all over the place with you to begin the show, but it's good to be with you, I think. But man, that is tough to swallow what we just saw last night. Has the league, I've not seen anything because I've been out of pocket for like 90 minutes. Has the league said anything?
I haven't seen anything yet. I haven't seen anything. All they've done is, and this is going to go down in history. And I gotta get Brian Breesman to get me a score sheet, but he works for the Lightning in the NHL. The score sheet literally has 6 men on the ice on a score sheet, and they've since reflected back and changed it back to 5 men on the ice. And no, the original sheet was correct. And I mentioned this earlier. I don't know if you heard me, or if you watched Get Up this morning, PK Subban has been on all week analyzing this. And they showed the 6 men on the ice. They showed Kadri receiving the puck when McKinnon is still 20 feet from the bench. And he's already got the puck on his stick, making a move to the freaking goal. And he said, yeah, this happens all the time in the league. It's really had nothing to do with the play.
No.
Like, what are you talking about,
something like that last night does not happen all the time, and certainly in a game like this and the magnitude like this. And there have been other controversial moments.
A guy on if he's coming off the bench and a puck even touches a guy's skate, automatically the hand goes up. So, this dude. And maybe it was because he was so far off the ice, they didn't see it. I don't know.
Okay. All right. So there's 2 important points on my understanding of this. I am not an NHL on ice official or an official rules analyst. I just play one on the FanStream JP show. So my understanding for years on the interpretation of too many men on the ice is 2 things: proximity to the bench, what you were just describing. And the way that I've always heard it described is, are you an arm's length away, within 5 feet or an arm's length? Are you at the bench or not? And most importantly, are you part of the play? You mentioned the puck hitting you, or if it's in the offensive end that you're doing this and the play is on the offensive end, that makes a bigger difference. In this case, all right, for anybody that's showing the still photos of the Lightning having 7 guys on, the one shot from behind Vasilevsky that shows that, the reason for that is because they're making a change and those 2 guys are not part of the play and they're right beside the bench, and that goes on 55 times every game in the NHL. The difference is 50 feet forward in the offensive zone where it is part of the play. Then you have to either be right beside the bench and make sure the puck's not touching you, or it's got to be too many men on the ice. So maddening on what they choose to enforce. But again, Gary Bettman's got to address this. I don't know who those referees are on the score sheet. I didn't catch that. They can't ref again in this series.
No.
Say again, they cannot ref again in game 5, 6, or 7 after they blew that call. There's got to be accountability for them blowing that call, for 4 of them to be out there and to not see that. And here's the other thing I'm unclear on, which John Cooper will probably address later today. Did the Lightning not have the replays on their iPad on the bench, video guy, 2-way communication down to the bench, to scream at them at the time to do something about the 6 men, or did they only find out a few minutes later in the dressing room, as they call it, not the locker room? I don't know that answer, that they apparently weren't aware themselves. At least they weren't screaming about it on the ice at the time before they left.
They were looking at it on the TV. On the TV broadcast, I stayed for a little longer, and you could see they were definitely looking at the iPads. But again, with the fact they know that it's not reviewable, so I don't know. I mean, you can hoot and holler all you want. I guess it's just there's no sense in it really. And you mentioned, I don't know if y'all caught wind. The NHL did put out a little statement last.
What is it?
I'll read it to you right here.
This will be good. I can't wait.
We effed up. Thank you.
Sincerely, G. Bettman.
Charles Barkley would say, that's terrible.
That's terrible. That's a horrible way to lose. That's terrible. What did you say? Vodka and cranberry? Now give me a double. Vodka, cranberry, Lightning Club. Go ahead.
A too many men on the ice penalty is a judgment call that can be made by any of the 4 on-ice officials. Following the game, hockey operations met with the 4 officials, as is their normal protocol. In discussing the winning goal, each of the 4 officials advised that they did not see a too many men on the ice situation on the play. The call is not subject to video review by either hockey ops or the on-ice officials.
So there's the cop out. There's the rule. There's the cop out.
Whoever
the linesman is that's in front of the Colorado bench does not work Friday night and does not work if there's a game 6. That is his call right in front of the bench. He can tell the referee 6th guy came on, no one came off. Again, we're belaboring this because it ended the game, and the guy that came on got the puck that ended the game. And right in front of that linesman, he got the puck without being substituted for. There's not another player coming off. And that's just
I swear to you. If they had 6 men on the ice and they were by the bench, I wouldn't say shit about this. I wouldn't say shit. But the guy that's coming on literally leaves 4 seconds early or 4 counts early is integral to the play. He's in the play. And it's while the Lightning are changing as well. And they already have the advantage with the long change. I mean, and here's another thing. And Kadri was interviewed afterwards, and he said, I don't know why he's saying it wasn't a good goal. I don't know this, but I'm just, this is nothing personal about Kadri. He went on early, and he knew damn well he went on early. He wanted to get into the play while the Lightning were making a long change, and he was pushing the envelope to get out there early. Guys do it all the time. And you know what? In overtime, it's not a bad play. It's although if you get caught, you're giving up a power play.
And I know we're splitting hairs on your point
that he did that on purpose.
On your point, yeah, I know we're splitting hairs. But if McKinnon was coming to the bench, and let's say he's 10 feet away and coming towards the bench, and Kadri jumps on with McKinnon nowhere near the play, that's a little more palatable. That's a little more okay. That is not what happened last night. To your point, he saw the opportunity. We have the puck. We have a chance to catch him. The puck is down at our end. I'm going to jump on, and I'm going to come join the play. And again, we're belaboring the same thing, but go back and see it on the video, because on the full replay of that play, you can see Nathan McKinnon in the offensive zone, and the Lightning have to account for him. And he is skating back up to the blue line to get onside, but you've got to account for him, because if the pass comes to the left, that's the guy coming in trying to win the game. If that is the case, he's in the play. It's black and white. It should have been blown dead immediately. It's more horrific that it went on for 3 or 4 seconds and they didn't do anything about it with 6 guys out there. Another reference point just for you, for the audience and all of this, because I went and I looked. So there are certain things that are reviewable, let's say, in the NFL. So if the game-winning touchdown pass in a sudden death overtime of a playoff game, not necessarily a Super Bowl, but even a Super Bowl, were to happen with 12 men on the field, that is reviewable. That would come from the booth. That is reviewable. An illegal formation is not reviewable. That is something that if they do not call it on the field, there's no recourse. And again, this is maddening for fans in 2022. Why is everything not reviewable? In basketball, we've had this come up a couple of times in college basketball. Goaltending is allowed to be called, and you can review goaltending if it's called. But still to this moment, unless it gets changed for this year in college basketball, if they don't call goaltending, you can't initiate a review and say that it was. In a controversial last-second play, if they don't call goaltending, you can't initiate it with the replay review. So there's just a couple of reference points of other sports where there's loopholes, and this stinks, but there's the loophole that there is no review mechanism, and what will be worse is when the NHL changes this, correct, JP, for next year, and says that you've got to be able to have the mechanism in place where if there are 6 guys, this is what you do.
And it has to be, I think it has to be just a little level of subjectivity. There has to be a little codicil put in there and say, if the player touches the puck, or is involved in the play. So if he's on the ice and let's just say it's a 2-on-1, and it would have been a 1-on-1, and he jumps on early, even though he's not touching the puck, but he's into the zone as the 6th player and the other guy's not off the ice, That's integral to the play. He's
correct.
on early, even though he's not touching the puck. It should be nullified if he's not within 5 feet of the bench. If he's an integral part of the play, a little bit of subjectivity, and that's okay. Officials do that all that time. That's what their job is, right?
Right.
But if he's touching the puck, and the guys, if Kadri is over by the bench and he touches the puck there, and he's not in scoring position, that's an automatic 6 men on the ice. We're calling that all the way. The fact that he was so far out and was so egregious was, I think, the reason why the arm didn't go up. And I think
they missed it.
Kadri's a smart player. He's a smart player. He knows how it works. If he gets further away from the bench, less chance of them catching it. They're long changing. I want to read something that Michigan wrote after the game. He said, all right, let's start with OT, which lasted 12:02. The Avalanche thoroughly dominated the extra session, but won the game after Nazem Kadri, the winning goal scorer, came on the ice well before it changing Nathan McKinnon. A first overtime period in the playoffs is just like the second period when a team's net is across the red line from its bench. So it's the period of the long change. This also means that for a team going on the attack, it's the period of the short change. Kadri jumping on early meant that the Avs had an even greater advantage with the short change. And I think that's integral to this whole thing there. He knew exactly what he was doing. He saw the Lightning were involved in a change. He wanted to jump on early and get a bit of an advantage, and he did it. He did it, and it worked. He cheated, and he won.
And there's a couple of other aspects of this, and that's great info there for your audience. And I had not seen that as well from Michigan, who would know a thing or two about big moments in the Stanley Cup final, I think.
Yes.
Kadri's a dirty player. Let's just put this out there because it hasn't been belabored enough because he hasn't played in the series. He has been suspended over and over again for dirty hits, dirty plays even in this playoffs before he got hurt. So that makes it even tougher to swallow when a dirty player is doing something dirty to win a Stanley Cup overtime game.
And
it's something like that.
On purpose. I guarantee you.
And again, the biggest onus is on the on-ice officials. I can't bang the drum enough for you and for every other show and every other media outlet. Those guys can't work the rest of the Stanley Cup finals. That is a horrific enough area where error where you don't work again the rest of the postseason.
Well, I got bad news for you, TJ, because the referee who was a few feet away from it was Wes McCauley. And I don't know if you know who that is. That's the NHL's maybe top ref right now.
Mm-hmm.
He's refed 8 Stanley Cup finals over almost 200 playoff games. I'm telling you, he ain't going bye-bye.
Bye-bye. That's what they should do.
It's what they should do, but
you have to look at it and say you've done something so egregious by not being able to count to 6. 6 minus 5 equals 1. That but you're right. I mean, it's a tough political point, but by the same token, what's the remedy for the Lightning? If you can't change the outcome of the game, you cannot resume the game. I got one for you. I don't have the specifics, but Nicky Numbers there, as you like to call him, may be able to find this. Earlier in the spring here, there was an NCAA hockey game being played for a conference tournament, not unlike the ACC basketball tournament, JP, or a basketball tournament. So they're playing the hockey tournament sudden death for the championship of that tournament, and the winner goes to the NCAA tournament on an automatic bid. For some reason, the winning overtime goal is supposed to be disallowed, but it was not. I think it was an offside. We got to find it. It was like 2 Minnesota schools. Okay. They don't call it. The celebration goes on. They even award the trophy for the conference tournament championship win for that school, whoever that, Minnesota Duluth or whoever it is.
Yeah.
They are in the locker room celebrating with their gear off, and the NCAA and the conference get in touch with the on-ice people to say, the game is not over. That is no goal. It is reviewable. We've reviewed it. Put your gear back on and get back out here. My only point of bringing that up, and Nick will probably find the reference, is to say that it can't go on. BS, it can't go on. It's exactly what the NCAA and that conference did this year, a few months ago, like in March. They did it. They said, we're resuming. We're going to resume the overtime, and the team that scored the first time, they went ahead and scored and won the game. So it did not erase them winning the game ultimately, but they put the game back on. And I got one more reference for you. All right. I got another one.
Can you imagine if the NHL did it? Can you imagine,
my God.
Can you imagine the ratings? Can you imagine the ratings?
What would have happened? All right. What would have happened last night? Think about this. What would have happened last night as the game ended around 11:20, 11:25, something like that? What would have happened last night at about 10 after 12 if Gary Bettman and that great command center that I talked to you about on Tuesday that took 5 minutes to review a simple, it's offside, the puck's out of the zone?
Yeah.
What if they had decided to initiate this? We can't end a Stanley Cup final overtime game like this. You guys are putting the gear back on. You're going to loosen up for 5 minutes with a warm-up, and we're going to resume overtime. And it's going to be in an empty arena because you've already evacuated everybody. They're all gone. We're not allowing anybody back in. JP's still there. The media's still there. And that's what they did in that college case. There were no fans in the arena. I mean, this is like 30 or 40 minutes after the game that they resumed. How crazy would that have been, JP?
I'm starting to so when in a timeline sense, when did they know? What did they know and when did they know it? Like when Cooper's press conference was somewhere around 11:50 or 11:55, about 20 minutes after the game. Yeah, game ended around 11:20. I started to get wind of this about 15 minutes after the game, as I was walking to my car. So I mean, everybody was still in the building. They could have done something. I wonder if it was even thought about. I mean, can you imagine what the hell that would be like? So
here's another quick story, and you love these stories. I'm full of stories. I'm full of crap. You love these. So when the Buccaneers, and this is under the name that we don't want to name, the maniac that followed Raheem Morris, with his coaching staff, Dave Wannstedt was his lead assistant.
Right.
The guy that repeatedly ran from me instead of doing the halftime interview, the guy that would make me stand and wait outside of his office door for an hour and a half to do a 5-minute pregame interview, just testing me. And the attitude became, I'll still be in the NFL and you'll be somewhere else from me. And that's what happened. I'm just sharing. I'm just opening up to you on the JP show.
Love people like that.
So in any event, Dave Wannstedt was his associate head coach. All right. You're going to remember this when I jog you. In 2000, I believe it was, Drew Bledsoe is the Patriots quarterback. The Dolphins are playing New England on the final game of the regular season to clinch the division if they win. This is pre-Tom Brady, obviously.
Right.
The Dolphins on the final play of the game have to defend a Hail Mary against Drew Bledsoe, who throws the Hail Mary, and it's incomplete, and the game is over. I believe in that circumstance, there was a penalty on the play or something that should have nullified the game being over and have one untimed down. As Wannstedt told me the story, because we were standing in New England and our Buccaneer tight end and radio analyst Dave Moore standing right there with me, and we're joking about this story. Because Wannstedt goes, oh my God, you need to hear the whole story. He goes, we're in the locker room. They all have their pads off. They all have their football pants off and pads off. We have the AFC East hats on. He goes, I've got an AFC East hat on my head. I've already done the press conference with the media. He goes, the owner, Huizenga, is in the locker room with us, and we are celebrating. And they come to us and say, you've got to put all of your stuff back on and come out and play the one untimed down 20, 25 minutes after the game. They did this. So Wannstedt's going, what are you talking about? The game is over. We've got to have a chance to see what you're talking about, and then we've got to loosen up. These guys have been drinking beer, smoking a cigar, had their shower. This is 20, 25 minutes after the game. This is like the 2000 season with the Dolphins. The NFL made them come out in an empty stadium and play the one untimed Hail Mary down again, and he threw incomplete, I believe, again on the Hail Mary. And Wannstedt was recounting that story. The only reason I'm blathering on.
I don't remember that. That's disaster.
Yes, I believe it's the 2000 season with Wannstedt as the Dolphins coach. The reason I'm bringing that up to say this is unprecedented and has never happened before. Yeah. It's not unprecedented and has never happened before. It has happened before.
I found the one you were talking about.
Okay, elaborate.
It was the Minnesota State versus.
Which is a big time.
Correct.
What is this? Bemidji State?
Probably. And they're playing the conference tournament championship game to go to the NCAA tournament. Go ahead, Nick.
Yes. And they score a winning goal in overtime, or so they thought. They had already celebrated, taken a picture with the Mason Cup, took a victory lap around the rink, the whole 9 yards. They're in the locker room. And then 40 minutes later, they're told that they got to come back out on the ice to play because it was ruled a no goal.
And what was the reason? Offside on the review?
Offside.
So they have a video evidence of offside, and 40 minutes after the game, the conference and I believe the NCAA was involved too in saying you cannot end a game on a blatant offside missed call. You have got to resume the overtime, put your stuff back on, and get out there. And they did.
Listen, the bottom line is they did not, in this case, the NHL did not screw up their protocol. In that case, it seems like they screwed up their protocol because they screwed up the review.
Right.
And so in this case, they didn't screw up the review because it's not reviewable.
It's not reviewable.
So Good point. It's not something that you got to change the rule. There's no doubt about that. And if they don't change the rule, that's just ridiculous.
You got to change what's reviewable. You got to change the policy.
It's a manual situation. Once you have up, you got to either make a rule or and that's good. That's good business. I mean, when you screw up, you got to admit that you screwed up and change the rule. It doesn't help the Lightning any. They're not going to replay the game. They shouldn't replay the game because then you'd be changing the rules. I'm not for that. I'm not saying you would, but I tell you what, if the NHL wants some publicity for their Stanley Cup final, put their ass out there and play the overtime in Colorado, because that would be seriously, that would be unbelievable. Everybody would be talking about.
And we don't know what's going to happen. Look, we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow night. I know you're going to do the full preview tomorrow, and maybe the Lightning win, and maybe it's series back on for Game 6 Sunday, and maybe Colorado wins 5-0. I don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
All I know is this is completely different series if the Lightning somehow find a way to win in that overtime. And by the way, we haven't mentioned this in our conversation. That would have been a Lightning power play had they have called it.
Exactly.
And now you're up a man in the sudden death with a chance to score the goal and win yourselves, and even the series at 2-2. So much controversy. We'll see what else gets said. We'll see what Gary Bettman says later today.
The bottom line is I just can't, other than the egregious interference in the Saints game, in the NFC Championship game, I can't remember a call or a missed call that was more pertinent to winning a crucial game in that situation. Would you agree?
I think you're right on the money. And of course, that situation was a no call. Right. To your point, and not reviewable. And then we went down the path of let's have the option to review to review pass interference with instant replay, including challenges. And they made that so maddening that we finally did away with it.
Right.
But to your point, it's the same thing where it's a no call and it's not reviewable.
Yeah. And has to change. But I think the Lightning played a really, really good game. They limited the
for 2 periods. Yeah, for two periods, yes.
I'd say 2.5 periods. I'll say 2.5 periods. I think they got a little lax. But, one of the biggest
I don't even, honestly, can I disagree? I think they were worn out. I think with Chernak hurt, the defense was worn out. The Avalanche of the fresher team. They continued as the third period went on to look like the fresher team, and it was almost like if you don't find a way to sneak a goal late here, they're going to find a way to get you in overtime the longer it goes because they're the fresher team. And my God, Vasilevsky saved the game twice. They hit a crossbar as well. So the argument can be made you should have been home and have lost long before the Kadri play.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ifs and buts. I just think they got tired, don't you? You were in the arena. I was not. I thought they were tired late in the third, tired in the overtime, lack of defensemen, whatever reasons you want to use. It looked like Colorado was the fresher team, and it was just a matter of, are they going to get the goal here to win the game? And they did.
Yeah, I would agree with that. As Michigan wrote in his article, he said, prior to the overtime, the Lightning put together what was likely their best game in the series. Their team defense held the Avalanche in check more effectively than in any of the earlier 3 games. And they had more dangerous chances in the overtime than they did in the previous 60 minutes that preceded it. I would agree with that.
Yep.
I think the last part of the third period when they got that, and I think that penalty call on they didn't score that late penalty, but the one where they had 2 minutes of offensive time on that penalty, I think that just gassed the Lightning and most of their key players. And from then on in the overtime, they were just done. They were cooked. But that being said, and I know Nick has said that they were going to win the game anyway, but you go on the power play, anything can happen. It's overtime. Anything can happen. And, it just sucks that it ended that way. And like you said, Kadri, of all people,
right?
And you cannot tell me that he didn't do that on purpose. He's a dirty player. He's a habitual line stepper is what he is. He's a habitual line stepper. But as I sit here right now, if that was a Lightning player that did that, I'd be like, hey,
we got away with it.
You take your chances. You got away with it. You push the envelope. Ain't trying.
Right. All depends on your point of view.
Right?
I'm pretty sure I said on yesterday's show, by the way, I said, I think Kadri's going to play. I'm hearing he looks good, and you're telling me he can't shoot. He just had surgery.
Somebody smacked that hand. That's what they should have done in the previous 60 minutes.
He could shoot a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Well, he didn't do shit for 60 minutes, did he? Did he?
He was a little bit noticeable, I thought.
He didn't do shit for 60 minutes.
He did it on.
He cheated at the end of the play.
Minute 73, he showed up.
Okay. Well, and he had to cheat to do it. So there you go. All right, TJ, my man. I appreciate all you brought to the table today.
Happy to hop on. It was good therapy. It's like group therapy here. We're venting. We'll see. I will say not over till it's over, and let's see what kind of backbone this team has to go up there. I mean, it is a very tough task, but let's just see what they have left in the tank. If anything for Friday, hang in there. It's not completely done yet.
They've shocked us before. They could do it again. Many thought they were done against Toronto, right?
If they find a way Friday, it is series back on to come back home. So obviously, this is the game. Colorado wants no part of a game 6 or a game 7, much less a game 7. This is the game they have to win, because now the doubt creeps back in if you don't win Friday night at home. And how bizarre and crazy and bonkers is that going to be if that's the case? We'll see.
That one's going to be nuts.
We'll see.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
Happy to be on. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks, pal. And check out the Eric Erlinson podcast that TJ's helping him out with as well. There it is. They're showing it again. They're showing the other goals, which, were fluke goals, all of them, against Vasi. Vasi had a great night. He was fantastic.
He was. And in overtime at some point, I mean, if there was anything, I just felt like he wasn't going to I really thought he wasn't letting anything going to get by him.
Yeah.
There was at one point they showed him, and there's a reason why he's called the big cat. I mean, it's like in between whistles or whatever. And they showed this great thing where he's fully stretched out and he has his arms out like this, and his eyes were like on it, man. And I'm like, this guy's not going to let anything go by him, I thought.
Yeah.
But, they did hit 2 posts, a crossbar and a post in that overtime period.
And the Lightning hit Kucherov hit the crossbar.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to get some audio here. Hold on a sec. Entertain the folks while I try to do this. This is Subban on
why don't
ESPN.
we take a break real quick, because we've been on for
all right, let's do that. Let's take a break
for a while.
Let's take a break. We'll come back on the other side. We got to get to the Rays too. They gave away one last night that was just awful in a big game. Certainly not a championship game, but it was a big game against the Yankees to win the series. Stay with us.
Cryptocurrency is all the rage today. The market cap for the industry is now over $1 trillion. And you read about people making millions of dollars, right? You want to get in, but have no idea what to do? Or maybe you dabbled a bit and you want to unlock the real money-making opportunities and don't know how to do it. There are over 10,000 tokens and thousands of decentralized finance exchanges to navigate. So what do? You go to DeFiLava.com. The folks at DeFiLava.com are in Tampa Bay, and they work with you directly to set up custom accounts, answer all your questions, and provide market analysis. Decentralized finance and cryptocurrencies are here to stay and will change the financial markets as we know them. Get in the game. Get with the experts at DeFiLava.com and tell them JP sent you, and get their free 2022 crypto market forecast today at DeFiLava.com. Don't get left behind, folks. Make some money at DeFiLava.com.
The health professionals at Bay Area Modern Medical Center want you to know it's time to commit to a new healthy lifestyle. It's literally a matter of life and death. 42% of Americans are considered obese, and being obese made you 3 times more likely to be hospitalized by COVID. So getting in shape is not just about looking better, it's about living much longer. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, they take a very different approach to primary care. It's personalized, preventative medicine. Christopher Lugo and his experienced staff are proactive in looking at your issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle.
building up your immune system, not destroying it with poor nutrition and bad habits. So call for an appointment, maybe change your primary care, and get on a journey back to full health and a happy life. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Italiano Insurance has been serving and working in our community for over 60 years, and it's not just about insuring all the pieces of your life. Italiano is as much a part of Tampa Bay as the Cuban sandwich, Gasparilla, and our Bucks, Lightning, and Rays. They're also active supporters of great charities like the Humane Society, Metropolitan Ministries, and local pediatric cancer centers. Hey, we all need insurance, so do business with a local company with a commitment to our community. Don't call some 1-800 number. Call Italiano and be greeted by one of your neighbors. That's 813-877-7799 or ItalianoInsurance.com. Named the Small Business of the Year by the Tampa Chamber. 813-877-7799. The world economy is in chaos and mortgage rates are going to go higher in the next few months. Meanwhile, home values are up 24% in some neighborhoods of Tampa Bay. Do not miss this opportunity to refinance your home, get some much-needed cash to handle skyrocketing inflation, and fill up your car. Contact Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Even if you've recently refinanced, Scott can make the deal work because he charges no lender fees like the big boys do. He will also shop your loan around to dozens of lenders and get the best rates and terms. Let them compete for your business. The big banks charge huge lending fees. Customer service is simply a phone number with endless wait times. Scott is local and will personally take your call. Here's his cell phone number. Tell him JP said you could call. 813-294-7595. Scott's done over 3,000 loans, including many coaches and athletes. He will answer your calls and concerns and give you workable strategies to be smart with your money. Reduce your payments. It's not just what you make, it's what you keep. 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Have you purchased a home in the last 10 years and the stucco is starting to come loose from the upstairs portion? Well, that can cause some serious damage that you can't see until it's too late. Is it becoming an eyesore? Have you contacted the builder and just can't get any relief? That's very common here in Florida. So call the law offices of Christopher Palermo. They can help you. Call 813-221-5636. That's 813-221-5636. He's recovered millions for his clients. The law offices of Christopher Palermo at PalermoPA.com.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Dr. Christopher Lugo and his team over there will take great care of you. He works with the military, keeps our top pilots in top shape. He can do the same for you. So if you're looking for testosterone replacement therapy, it's something they are expert at. If you are looking for you want to lose some weight, they've got some great programs for that. Everything is personalized just for you. They're going to spend a lot of time with you, 45 minutes to an hour in your first appointment to go through your blood work, your history, and find out exactly what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong. Rebuild your immune system if it needs to be, because that is such a crucial thing these days. So many modern techniques that they are using there. That's why they call it Bay Area Modern Medical Center. So go to BAMMC.com, BAMMC.com, and find out more. All right. Actually, I just got this audio from Get Up. This is the PK Subban interview I was talking about. You want to try to play it off of there, or let me see if I can play it off. See how this comes out here.
Did you say you posted it on Twitter here?
Yeah. I don't know if it's posted yet because of the video. Let me see.
I have not seen it here yet.
Let me see if this works.
The story. Well, it isn't really the end of the story, actually. The story includes the fact that there was clearly an extra skater on the ice. If you're wondering, is that reviewable? The answer is no. There were 4 on-ice officials. None of them saw it, and thus it was not called, and thus the game-winning goal stands. There's nothing that could be done about it after the fact.
Listen, if the extra player on the ice would have had more of an impact on this play, I think maybe it would have been called. But at this point, you want to let the teams decide what happens.
He had the puck, you idiot.
I think this happens almost every shift where a guy's not completely off the ice. This is a play where the guy's completely out of the play. I don't see it really impacting the goal much. Both defensemen are back. It's not like they changed and a guy got him behind the defense. This is just giant hockey. That's a hockey play. And you got to give credit to Colorado and Kadri for getting this thing done. But there are 6 guys still on the ice. We can nitpick. But like I said, you could review this a million times if you want, and a million other plays. There's always going to be that gray area when a guy gets on. This is part of the game. That's hockey.
All right, so that's good perspective on it.
I guess he's talking about McKinnon is not part of the play, but the guy that's coming on the ice is part of the play. And he's coming on in the long change situation where he's clearly looking up ice, sees what's going on, can get a jump on the play, can get into the zone and make a play. It's exactly what he did. What the hell is he talking about?
Yeah, like we've been over this. I don't understand that argument. That's a guy who still plays in the league and has played in this league for a long time at a high level.
And has been beaten by the Lightning.
I don't know if he was paid hush money not to have that take or what.
Gary Bettman got on the line.
Hey, he's a big ambassador for the NHL. I'm just saying. Yeah. So it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest.
I like his takes. He's a great dude. He's really funny. He is a great ambassador for the league. I mean, I really like PK Subban. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, but that is just a dumbass take.
Yeah, and I think Greeny.
I mean, I don't play in the league, but I mean, I
think Greeny not knowing enough about the game there
can't challenge him.
Can't even really. I mean, so he literally said it. He's like, for those of us who don't really watch much, please explain. And so that's the only perspective you have to go off of there. I don't know. I want to hear what Ryan Callahan has to say later today.
Okay.
If somebody at ESPN is going to talk about it, I want to hear what he has to say. I don't know.
Well, I heard Andrew Chuck last night, and I heard Randorf, and I heard the whole team last night because they covered it very well last night on Bally Sports Sun, very, very well. And Andrew Chuck was, and not in a not like me going crazy and apoplectic about it. He's just like, well, you have a man on the ice, and he's clearly involved in the play and touching the puck and scores the game-winning goal. That should have been, without question, it's an egregious 6 men on the ice. And he was very measured about it. Okay. All right. We'll move on. We'll be talking much about this tomorrow, I'm sure, as well.
Let's move on and go to the other disappointment.
Let's
from one to the
let's
other.
Get some more hemlock out here and take another shot of that. So you had a little bit more eyes on this last night. I'm just trying to catch up with it this morning.
Some eyes.
But basically, the Rays last night blow a 4-1 lead, and they put with Taylor Wall making another leads to a critical run. He also gets picked off third, which is just like ridiculous. With G-Man Choi up at your one of your best RBI guys, he gets picked off third. Arozarena runs into another out. What else? What other screw ups did we have last night that I'm not? Oh, they were 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position. They walked 8 guys last night. The good news is Paredes hits his 4th home run against the Yankees in 4 at-bats, which the list of folks that have done that is very, very small and great names, all of them. And the first Rays player to ever hit 4 home runs in 4 straight at-bats.
Yeah, and let's listen to the call from last night here.
There we go. Bally Sports on.
There's a shot back into left. Well tagged. And that ball is gone. Home run for Paredes. Here we go again.
Yeah, baby.
How about Isaac Paredes has 9 home runs now to lead the Rays.
Right.
And that's 9 more home runs than Austin Meadows has this year for the Tigers.
You were going there.
I mean, they're going to be forever linked together.
Yes.
I'm not going to sit here and tell you the Rays have won the trade because of, but listen, I want the Rays to win games.
Of course,
I want them to turn this around. And Isaac Paredes, he came into the Rays as a contact guy, get on base.
Yep.
That's kind of been the part of his game that's actually struggled. But he altered his swing a little bit. Now he's getting the pop. The average is starting to climb a little bit. Let's see if this is some consistency. Yeah, he needs to play every single day at this point.
No, absolutely.
Taylor Walls does not need to play every day at this point. Just too many errors for him. But Isaac Paredes, that's 9 home runs leading the Rays.
That's
how about that?
And 9 home runs in a hurry.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah. Now, look, this is, and obviously he's popped on the scene now. Pitchers are going to start paying a lot more attention to him. We'll see if there's any holes in his swing. We'll see if he makes the requisite adjustments. I mean, until he gets to 106 RBIs, we're not going to say that they've won the trade. But I hope they do win the trade.
I hope they do. We both went there. The other thing last night about the Rays, and I cut them some slack because we know the injuries. We got the injuries, but In general, in a one-run game against the best team in baseball that's flying, Ralph Garza in the 8th inning. Again, you can almost feel things sometimes. It was the inning prior where Judge hit one, which, by the way, it almost went through the roof.
Yeah. How they said that was like 406.
406, I don't see how.
That's where it hit the catwalk, 406 feet away.
It went over the catwalk.
Yeah.
I don't know where this thing landed. For those of you who hate the stadium, you probably were rooting for it to go through the roof and have a nice little hole there. I thought it was going to. But yeah, Aaron Judge hits 2 home runs last night, but he hit that one off Poche, and then Ralph Garza comes in and a 4-pitch walk right away, and I'm like, well, there you go.
Yeah.
You could kind of feel it. And then Trevino, who's been red hot for the Yankees there at catcher, hits the 2-run bomb, and now you're down 5-4. And again, the feeling is it's over, because then there comes Clay Holmes, who's been arguably the best reliever in baseball this year for the Yankees, and nothing. You can't get nothing off of him, and you drop a series. And again, they've given up 9 unearned runs to the Yankees this year. 9. That's the difference between beating the Yankees and losing to the Yankees. It's 9 unearned runs right there.
I think they've their total the total runs that they gave up, the earned runs for the Yankees. What was the total in the series? And it wasn't many
in this series.
Yeah, it wasn't many. And Baz threw the ball pretty well. He
was okay.
Yeah, he was. He's got great stuff. I think he's going to be a really good pitcher for the Rays. It's many unforced errors to beat a team like the Rays. And by the way, now the Yankees have won 17 of 20, and the Red Sox have won 16 of 20, and the Rays are headed in the opposite way.
Yeah,
and I said this at the beginning of the year. It just didn't appear. It looked like an 85 win team to me. But so much. There's so many injuries. I was looking at the injury list the other day. It's literally unbelievable.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's their whole starting team.
Yeah,
just about.
It really is. And I mean, I want to see Aranda maybe get in there. I'm curious to see how he does. He hasn't really had a chance to play yet. But again, with Taylor Walls, with the struggles, it's like he's just a roller coaster right now. It was the other day we came on here and we're like, man, Taylor Walls saved that game for them, right?
He makes great plays, and then he just brain farts on the.
It's just odd. And Randy Arozarena getting caught on the base paths. There needs to be a meeting. We need to, I don't know if we're not teaching base running. I don't know what's going on, but it's causing them to lose games at this point.
You can't get caught off third like that. Come on, man.
And the one good thing for the Rays, I say good thing, but it could be a bad thing, I guess, if they keep playing like this. Coming into town is the Pirates. You got the Pirates coming in, and
they're the only team with a lower payroll than we have.
If you can't beat the Pirates at home, well, we'll see. Monday we might be sounding the alarms. If we lose 2 out of 3 to the Pirates, or God forbid you get swept to the Pirates, I will officially be sounding a lot of alarms here. So I need 2 out of 3. I need a sweep. Honestly, you should sweep this team, even with the way the Rays roster looks right now. But yeah, it's a shame to see a lot of great pitching performances go by the wayside. And how do the Rays match up to the Yankees right now? How would you assess?
Well, if they just play normal baseball, don't commit all these unforced errors, they're head to head with them.
Yeah.
The numbers say that, but that's not the way it goes. You got to play the games, and these guys are just making stupid errors. 46 unearned runs, second most in the majors. The Rays. And you would say they built their team around defense. They're not building their team for off. When you select players for their defensive abilities, Taylor Walls is a perfect example. I mean, he's the type of player that the Rays win with.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been terrible defensive. I shouldn't say terrible, but he's not what he was billed as. And if you got guys, and what you're doing when you build your team is you're sacrificing offense.
Mm-hmm.
You're taking guys that aren't the best offensive players because your run prevention is your calling card. Well, when the offense is predictably shitty because you don't really draft for that, or I won't say don't draft for it, but defense has always been a priority with this team, and you're not playing well defensively, and you're making all these outs on the bases, they lead the league in that as well. You just can't win that way. You can't win in baseball like that. You can't. And I don't care how good your starting pitching is. I don't care how good your bullpen is, which your bullpen's not that good right now.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen the Rays play like this. It's been a long time, and under Kevin Cash, I haven't seen this since I'm talking 2016 era. I haven't seen the Rays play like this.
Yeah.
Just right now, they're firing on one cylinder, and that's their starting rotation and their bullpen for the most part, which is starting to be a little bit more leaky because they're having to use Ralph Garza and Calvin Fauché and Colin Poche, who still is kind of look like he's working his way back from the injury from last year.
We got a lot of O'Shea's, don't we?
We got a lot of O'Shea's. I think I might be fluffing that. The Calvin, because I always say Calvin Fulcher, but it's Fauché.
It's Fauché.
Yeah,
it's Poche, and it's
Fauché, right?
Yeah, and the who's the other one we have? Chargois. We have a lot of Frenchies. I like that. Wish they could pitch better, but they're, it's just not. It just kind of feels like you said, it kind of felt like Cooper's capitulation speech, like the run is over.
Mm-hmm.
I don't quite believe that. I think they can they still have a great core here. And we'll talk about this after the series. They need to make some changes. They got to get faster. The Rays. No, I'm talking about the light. They need to make some changes. I'm drawing this long analogy here. So I don't think it's the end of their run, but they need to retool. Okay. I kind of feel the same way about the Rays. Like we may be entering a transition period here where they're going to let these young kids come up, Aranda, Paredes, let them starting to take over, and the KKs are going away. Maybe the older players, quote older players. Maybe this is a transition year that we make because this team does not look like a championship team in any way, shape, or form. It's not there.
I agree. And that's kind of what I'm trying to, I'm no longer going to try to make it about, well, I thought the Rays had a chance to win a World Series. They didn't make the moves I thought to put themselves in a position. I'm no longer looking at that anymore. To be honest, there's just way too many injuries. And I know every team's got them, but the Rays, they have more than everybody.
Yeah,
they do.
Constantly.
Go look at the list. It's out there.
I think I retweeted it.
Yeah, you did.
Yesterday.
It's ridiculous. It's like an all-star cast of guys they're missing, literally. So I'm looking at it like, this year you get all these young guys in. They're all going to go through growing pains. Some of them are going to have hot stretches, cold stretches. I think that's kind of the route you have to go with. I'm not saying it's a lost season because I still think the Rays could probably piece together 85 wins. I still think they could because they're going to get hot at some point. They will. Once they get some guys back, they'll be a lot better than they are now, and they'll piece some of it together. But they're definitely not winning the division. I think that's over with. They'll compete for maybe the third wild card, the second wild card. I think it's kind of their ceiling right now. And if they do that with all these young guys in, it's great experience for them, right? As it was last year to get McClanahan, Baz, and Rasmussen in the playoffs. It's great experience. And then 2023 comes. These guys we think are going to be a lot better. You move some of the roster around. Some of the older guard kind of shifts their way out.
Right.
I think the Rays they're still set up well for the future. That's the one thing you could say about the front office. They're always going to set this team up well for the future. I wish they'd pay attention a little bit more to the now sometimes.
Yeah.
But they're always going to have it set up for the future.
Well, again, I've said over and over, it's hard. It's going to get hard. It's going to be very hard to get position players as free agents here. Number one, the Trop, number one, and number two, the ownership. They're not going to pay. So, and right now they need a veteran catcher because Zunino's, it was great what he gave us last year, but
none of us were counting on that.
Yeah. No. But not as bad as it's been though. It's been horrific this year. And they need an experienced first baseman that can play first base well defensively and save a lot of these Taylor Walls errors. It's not just on Taylor. G-Man Choi is just he's below average at best. And the other guys are well below average.
I think he's turned into a capable first baseman. I'll use the word capable. He's capable. He has his moments, good and bad. He's capable. But honestly, though, who's hitting better than G-Man Choi in the lineup right now?
Oh, I'm not saying anything about his offense.
I think I want him in the lineup regardless.
Yeah, but I mean, we supposedly pay attention to defense, and two key positions defensively are first base and catcher. And right now,
Mejia is not a defensive catcher. We know that.
Terrible.
And I don't think the Rays want to have to play. They don't want to have to play Rene Pinto a lot because you're not going to get anything out of his bat.
No.
So they're kind of right now they have to go through it there. But I mean, I think we had this discussion maybe a week or two ago about first basemen. These guys aren't just hanging out on trees.
No.
They're not going on trees.
And they cost money.
They cost money.
Yeah, which we are unwilling to pay.
The Rays, we've talked about it. The Rays had a couple first basemen in their pipeline that they thought were going to be the guy. And it was Jake Bauers, who clearly the Rays made the right call there, moving on. And Nate Lowe, who is a serviceable first baseman, I'd say, in baseball right now.
Better than anybody we got.
You talking about defensively, right?
Yeah, and no,
not at the bat at G-Man. G-Man has earned. I think G-Man has earned his spot there, and that's kind of why they moved off those guys. I would say not to block their development, but I think that's part of the problem. And now you look at the pipeline, you don't really have that first base ace coming in. So it's that's definitely going to have to be a position of like need for them going forward.
I don't think they put enough. I don't think they put enough priority on it, to be quite honest. They when they go out and acquire players, they're always middle infielders and
because Harold Ramirez is playing first base for a reason.
They think they can put anybody at first base. I disagree with that. So we'll see how they do this weekend against the Pittsburgh Pirates. I wonder so the Pirates don't come here often. They've got a lot of fans because they train here, right? A lot of people from Pittsburgh may want to come down.
If you're trying to tell me that people are going to see this series, I think you're wrong.
Well, I don't think. Well, I was wondering, or is this a price the Rays fans out series? Because we're just going to soak all the Pittsburgh fans.
You know what?
Well, I tell you what. Let's take a break and we'll come back and we'll get that information for the folks. Because I don't even have to look it up.
I'm going to look it up right here.
Oh, we didn't play the cash interview. I want to play the cash interview. Well, we could do that after the break as well.
Right here. Let's buy a ticket for a Friday night game here.
Okay.
Let me do it real quick. Because I got it to my head here.
All right.
We're loading.
Mm-hmm.
We're loading. $20.
$20 is the lowest ticket. All right. There we go. And what's an outfield ticket? Give me an outfield ticket. What's the outfield ticket?
32.
Oh, it's still ridiculous, but not as bad as the $60 Yankee ticket. All right, now we'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll hear from Kevin Cash because I'd like to hear what he had to say last night about this sloppy play and just very un-Rays-like play. I hope he's not giving his boys a pass. I know he rarely takes them to task in the public eye, and that's always worked well for him, but somebody needs to throw a chair. Back in a moment. The world economy is in chaos, and mortgage rates are going to go higher in the next few months. Meanwhile, home values are up 24% in some neighborhoods of Tampa Bay. Do not miss this opportunity to refinance your home, get some much-needed cash to handle skyrocketing inflation, and fill up your car. Contact Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Even if you've recently refinanced, Scott can make the deal work because he charges no lender fees like the big boys do. He will also shop your loan around to dozens of lenders and get the best rates and terms. Let them compete for your business. The big banks charge huge lending fees. Customer service is simply a phone number with endless wait times. Scott is local and will personally take your call. Here's his cell phone number. Tell him JP said you could call. 813-294-7595. Scott's done over 3,000 loans, including many coaches and athletes. He will answer your calls and concerns and give you workable strategies to be smart with your money. Reduce your payments. It's not just what you make, it's what you keep. 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Have you purchased a home in the last 10 years and the stucco is starting to come loose from the upstairs portion? Well, that can cause some serious damage that you can't see until it's too late. Is it becoming an eyesore? Have you contacted the builder and just can't get any relief? That's very common here in Florida. So call the law offices of Christopher Palermo. They can help you. Call 813-221-5636. That's 813-221-5636. He's recovered millions for his clients. The law offices of Christopher Palermo at PalermoPA.com. The health professionals at Bay Area Modern Medical Center want you to know it's time to commit to a new healthy lifestyle. It's literally a matter of life and death. 42% of Americans are considered obese, and being obese made you 3 times more likely to be hospitalized by COVID. So getting in shape is not just about looking better, it's about living much longer. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, they take a very different approach to primary care. It's personalized preventative medicine. Christopher Lugo and his experienced staff are proactive in looking at your issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle, building up your immune system, not destroying it with poor nutrition and bad habits. So call for an appointment, maybe change your primary care and get on a journey back to full health and a happy life. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Let's rock.
This is FanStream Sports with JP.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by BAMMC, Bay Area Modern Medical Center, here in our second hour. Also by the Gold and Diamond Source. Julie and Steve Weintraub, great folks over there, and they run the Gold and Diamond Source, and they give you great value, great prices, a great staff. More than anything else, many of us don't know squat about jewelry or diamonds, but they will educate you, and you can trust them. That's a big thing about go to any other jeweler. You don't know, these guys. Big, you buy a diamond online, you have no idea the quality of that diamond, even though they tell you it's this, that, and the other. Do not do that. Go to a trusted source that have been there for decades, highly entrenched in our community, and people keep going there because they give you great prices, great selection, great everything, great follow-up. If you need any jewelry repaired in any way, even if you need a watch battery or something like that, just go on in there, drop it off, do some shopping. They'll take care of you. Just such a great atmosphere at the Golden Diamond Source. It's a local company, obviously, family run, family owned. We love to keep our money here locally, especially with those that do so much in the community, and that is the Golden Diamond Source. So head on over there. Tell them JP sent you. 3800 Ulmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. A couple other things. Andrew Burnett sacked by the Panthers for Paul Maurice, and the retreads just keep on coming in hockey.
I kept saying, I think I tweeted this. I'm like, does the NHL literally have just like a pool of like 40 coaches, right?
I think so.
There's 32 that coach, and then you have 8 guys who have been fired, have, has-beens, misfits, whatnots, and they all just end up around the league. Like, I've heard these names since I was a kid.
Yes.
I've been hearing all these names: Claude Julien, Paul Maurice, John Tortorella, Pete DeBoer, Todd McClellan. I mean, I've been hearing these names since I was a kid. What are they still doing in the league?
It's fun. And who is the most successful and longest tenured coach?
John Cooper.
And where did he come from?
The AHL or whatever. He came from. He played. What was the league in Texarkana, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, geez.
He came up through the ranks. We
don't do that anymore with head coaches.
I know. Why not? Why are we not looking for young coaches that give it a little different perspective, a little? I have this is ridiculous. Paul Maurice. I was in Carolina when the Hurricane were born. I was working in Greensboro, and they came over and did a couple of exhibitions over in Greensboro, and they did a media thing, and I got to actually sit next to Paul, their head coach at the time, their first head coach. Really super likable guy, really nice guy. We kept in touch for a long time, and but my God, he's still in the league. That was 1997, I think. He's still in the league, and he's had some good runs, don't get me wrong, but what did Andrew Burnett do to lose that job?
Well, Andrew Burnett took over that job.
I guess
he took over that job though with the worst conditions.
Terrible.
Joel Quenneville, the whole thing with Chicago, that was awful. So that's an awful position to take over a team. I know the team was very talented. Did they underwhelm? You're damn right they did.
Yeah, they did.
Was that more about the Lightning? I think so. But to not even give him a second year. I mean, how many new voices do you need in that dressing room?
Yeah, and to such an uninspired hire. I mean, if you're going to get rid of that guy.
Yeah, it is, because Paul Maurice was at Winnipeg, and Winnipeg has a lot of talent, but it's just consistently underachieved for years. So it doesn't really make sense to me. But again, if all the other teams, I said that too. I was like, man, Lightning fans, regardless of what happens, John Cooper, I mean, just again, appreciate what you have,
man,
because all these other teams are just passing around these other guys like blunts. I mean, left and right. I mean, I could not imagine if John Cooper tomorrow said, I want to retire, what the Lightning would do.
And let's give it a round of applause to Montreal.
Oh yeah,
for hiring Martin and St. Louis.
Yeah,
and I hope Marty has some success, and I think he will.
They had success with him last.
Yeah, I think he will, and I think maybe that will open the door for some new blood in these coaching circles, because I think the NHL needs it
badly,
desperately. Couple other things. We talked a little bit about this yesterday. Tony Saragusa, the Goose, dies at age 55. What a great personality, what a great player. Just one of the best guys. Anybody who ever worked with him or came in contact with him became an instant friend. What a great dude. I've heard so many great things about it. I think I've had him on my shows a few times, and he's always been very gracious. And, some of these national people come on your show, and you could just tell they're just, marking time. They're just kind of doing it, but not the Goose. The Goose would come on and give you everything he can, like Steve Levy did yesterday. He was really invested in the conversation. Really appreciate that. I can't wait to. I got to text him about this with this 6 men on the ice. I didn't see their post game show because I was watching Bally's. I don't know how much they got into it, but
it was more of one of those like Twitter firestorm things that just kind of evolved into something huge.
That makes sense. But the NBA draft tonight, your Orlando Magic have the number 1 pick. How are they going to F this up?
They're going to F it up if they take the, in my opinion, the unicorn from Gonzaga.
Chet Holmgren.
Listen,
the 7-1 stick.
Listen, you wouldn't know it, by the way, as much as we talk down, I guess, on the NBA.
That guy's going to be the next Dirk Nowitzki. I don't know what you're talking about.
You're joking. You're joking. I'm actually writing a story as we speak right here, what Bruce Pearl called him, Sean Bradley.
I think
that's more so where we're headed here.
Yeah.
But you
Bruce
wouldn't know
Pearl
it.
called him Sean Bradley.
Yeah, he's called him Sean Bradley. You wouldn't know it because we talk so negatively about the NBA. But I am a big Magic fan. I watch my Magic games, but there's just nothing exciting about. There's nothing exciting about the Magic for a while now.
Oh God,
they're building for the last decade. They're building.
Is Jonathan Isaac ever going to play again?
I have no idea. This guy has torn his ACL in what was it? August of 2020. He hasn't played since. Yeah. I don't know if he wants to play. I'm just gonna. That's speculation, but I just have this feeling he doesn't want. I don't know.
In the moments that he's played, he's
shown a lot.
Yeah, and he was tremendous at FSU.
Yeah, but they got some players. But tonight, there's obviously the big three. It's Chet Holmgren, it's Paolo Banchero, and it's Jabari Smith. I see, in my opinion, it's 2022. What the hell are you doing picking centers with the first overall pick?
Yeah,
I mean that's why I don't. I fear that the Magic will because they love their length. Oh, they love their length. They love having guys who are huge and like Mo Bamba, for example, who has busted really bad in the NBA. I just have a feeling that's where they're going. Woj did say the feeling is that Jabari Smith is going to be the pick.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, all the odds makers.
I saw him play against USF.
Jabari Smith?
Yeah.
And you weren't impressed. I know that.
Oh, my God, no. I was like, that's the number 1 pick of the draft?
I was impressed the entire year long. I have no problem with picking Jabari Smith.
Okay.
But to me, the can't-miss guy is Banchero.
Yeah.
I don't know how you could watch, I don't know. He just feels like the can't-miss guy. Like, the Magic needs somebody who could put the ball in their hands and just score from anywhere. To me, Chet, you have to put it in his hands. Somebody else has got to do it for him.
He just looks so brittle to me.
He's 7 foot, 190 pounds.
Yeah, and I know he's still young. He's still tremendously young. But, I mean, that just, Zion was, too big. And Chet is
he's just way too skinny.
Way too skinny.
What I want the Magic to do, follow through with me here. Okay? Do you recall the 1993 NBA draft, which featured Sean Bradley, Penny Hardaway, and Chris Webber?
Okay.
That was the big three.
All right.
The Magic drafted Chris Webber.
Yeah.
And then traded his rights to Golden State for Penny Hardaway and acquired 3 first-round picks on top of that, which would never happen again. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I would love to see the Magic draft because Banchero is seen as the third guy by mostly everybody.
Right.
I would love if the Magic took you see where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
Either take Holmgren right away or trade out before to Houston, get the third pick. You get Banchero, or worst case, you get Jabari Smith, and then you get other draft capital or other players added onto it. I would love to see a redo of 1993.
Yeah, they need a lot.
Would that happen, though, probably in this day and era? No.
Well, what the hell did Philly trade away to not take Jason Tatum and take Markelle Fultz? Didn't they trade 2 first-round picks?
They traded a lot for it.
Yeah, to make the wrong pick.
See, I don't do that.
It's the dumbest shit
I don't
ever.
do that. That wasn't the wrong pick.
Markelle Fultz?
Wasn't the wrong pick.
Are you crazy?
at the time, nobody was taking Jason Tatum number one. End of story.
Go listen to my show. I'm like, Jason Tatum is the best player just because he hasn't played a lot. Did you pay attention to the NCAA tournament? He finally got in February and was the best player on the floor every night he played. Every NCAA tournament, by far the best player on the floor. Anybody could see that. Markelle Fultz couldn't shoot. He couldn't shoot.
He could shoot when he was in Washington. I don't know what happened to him in between the end of the season and the beginning of the next one, but he could shoot. He's good with the Magic now. I'm just saying, he's good with the Magic now.
And the other part of this is, which is one of the things I hate, is you're drafting they're kids. They're like, we don't know who they are yet. We don't know. They're like, these guys are going to be so dramatically. Look at Andrew Wiggins. I'm not saying he's a superstar, but I mean, that guy was 3, 4, 5 years away from being a productive NBA player. And all these guys are. And nobody wants to draft them. Nobody. And you would wish that.
Who are you talking about?
I'm talking about so many of these players that are coming out. They're not ready for the NBA. Jabari Smith might be ready for the NBA. And Banchero, maybe. Certainly Chet Holmgren's not ready for the NBA. His body's not ready for the NBA. And so many of these guys that come out are not ready for the NBA. And I just wish that they would be able to stay in college, and it would be such an easy thing to do, especially now with NIL. It's ridiculous. These guys should have the opportunity. I don't care when the NBA drafts them, but they could be like baseball where they keep them in the minor leagues and let them grow up until they're ready to play in the NBA. Because it hurts the NBA product that we're playing these guys way too early than they should be playing, and it just destroys college basketball, because most of these guys should stay in college basketball and build their games and be that way we could watch them grow up in college like we used to do, and you get really high level play in college because most of the guys are juniors and seniors, not all freshman teams, and you got much better basketball on both levels. I think that's one of the things that's hurt both levels of basketball to me.
Well, I think what you've seen in college basketball, like the whole idea of putting 5 freshmen on the court, it's not working anymore. No. I think you've learned that.
Awful.
I mean, go look at like Kentucky did it for years,
awful.
and they can't do it anymore.
No, it's awful.
So the more experienced team is going to win. I will push back slightly, only because, and I know every draft class is different, but this last draft class we just had, there was a lot of players who walked right into the league and were difference makers.
Yeah.
A lot of them, like Cade Cunningham, difference maker. Scotty Barnes, difference maker. Jalen Green, difference maker. I keep going on and on.
Some of them can do it.
A lot of them last year did. I think maybe they're being prepped better for it now than they used to. I agree 100% with you. Chet Holmgren, I just don't see it myself. I just don't see it. But I have my fears that the Magic are going to do that tonight. I really do.
It feels like a Magic pick.
It does. Because they
feels
did.
like a Magic pick.
Do you know the 2 picks after the Magic took Mo Bamba in 2018?
Who?
It was Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Colin Sexton, who I would absolutely love to have. Those are 2 guys who are putting up 20 on the board a night.
Yeah.
And the Magic said, nah, length. We have Nick Vucevic already, but let's take more length, the backup center. Yeah. So that's my fear.
Yeah, not good. All right, we were going to play that Kevin Cash before we got derailed by crappy basketball talk.
Hey, we didn't have crappy. We just would.
We went deep into the draft.
Deep.
No,
I have a rooting
good.
interest finally.
You were very good. Yeah. I would love to see the Magic get good again. Last time I went to the game was what was that last final they were in with Dwight Howard?
2009. Yeah, against the Lakers.
Yeah. Watch Dwight Howard with
did his best. He did his best.
I was like, how's that guy? How are you this far in the league and you still don't have a jump shot? You can't make a free throw?
Well, it was 2009. I mean, that was different. It was different. Nowadays, you'd get killed for that.
That dude was the biggest waste of talent in the history of the NBA. Oh my God.
Are you kidding
Dwight
me?
Howard? Oh
the fact that do you recall who was on that Magic team?
I don't care. No, I'm just talking about him personally. He could have been one of the top 10 players in league history. His athleticism, his length, he just did not give a rip. He didn't practice. He never developed a jump shot, a jump hook.
It wasn't his game.
Any moves, anything.
The game was different 15, 20 years ago.
What do you mean? What are you talking about?
Nowadays, every single big man's expected to have a jump shot and hit free throw. That wasn't the expectation during the mid-2000s. According to who?
First of all, I wasn't expecting him to have a jump, have some offensive repertoire besides dunking the ball.
He was just dominant.
Yeah.
What offensive repertoire did Shaq have? Besides just being dominant.
Far from dominant. Well, Shaq could have been a hell of a lot better player too. He could have been. Make a free throw.
What is wrong with you?
Make a free
Shaq
throw.
Could have been a better player.
Learn a sky hook. Do something. Yeah, Shaq could have been a much better player. What do you know who else said that? Kobe. Kobe did.
Don't make me go against Kobe right now.
No.
Don't make me do that.
Kobe be the first one to tell you. Get in the gym, work out.
You're getting your basketball card revoked right now.
I love Shaq, but he could have been a much better player.
Moving on, let's listen to as we switch way off base here, back to the Rays, which we had a nice discussion about earlier. But here's Kevin Cash after the game.
After the debacle.
Early, you get a couple of home runs, you're feeling good, but you continue to climb back into it. How frustrating is it when your pen can't hold the lead?
Well, I mean, it's frustrating, but we had opportunities to add more runs and we didn't. And then I think fairly obvious that we were a little gassed in the pen from probably the night before and even previous usage, and it kind of caught up to us there at the end.
We talked a lot about the outs on the base paths this year, but I mean, the deflation, especially when you have bases loaded with the Taylor Wells play there specifically, how deflating is it?
I just would rather that not happen. I don't know how to answer that.
I guess on the positive side, he saw home run.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Happy for him. He swung the bat really, really well.
I think the walks probably will be affected by how you had to use the bullpen.
Salty Cash.
The walks. I mean, look, it goes without saying that team is going to capitalize on opportunities. Free passes came about. I still go back to look. We're pitching some young guys in some situations that can get a little sticky. They're going to be better for it. It just stings a little bit in the moment.
Right. I know Garza gives it up at the end, but he hadn't pitched in a couple weeks.
Yeah, that ain't on Garza. Right. No, he not at all. That's on me as much as anybody. I think we optioned him. He comes back, so he had a layoff there and just kind of been waiting for that spot and kind of caught up on us.
You played the Yankees 6 times in the last week and lost 5 by a total of 7 runs. How frustrating is it to all those missed opportunities?
Well, it shows look, they're the best team in baseball. It shows that we're a really good team. We're just not capitalizing on opportunities that we're capable of doing. You know, we didn't make the big pitch. We didn't get the big hit. There were just things throughout the big play. There were things throughout that game. All 3 of those things came up and kind of bit us.
It seemed like Boz kind of got into his rhythm at the 5 straight strikeouts.
Yeah.
And it kind of went away. I know he didn't score in the 5th inning, but they probably changed some of the things the way you were set up.
Yeah, I mean, look, the pitch count, I think he was in the mid-20s at that point in the 5th. In the moment, I felt like that you could make an argument that was going to be the biggest out of the ball game with Rayleigh facing Rizzo. But no doubt, we knew we were thin, kind of went for it right there and didn't work out.
Were you impressed how Boz attacked Judge there to be able to get him out prior to?
Yeah.
Still salty. Old Salty Cash. I think he may have thrown a chair.
I mean, can you blame him?
No.
If he pulled a Billy Bean and threw the bats everywhere? I mean,
no.
I can't. I love the answer. He's like, I don't know how to answer that. I'd just rather it not happen.
That was a great one. That was I'm not going to roast my guy in the press conference here, but I think Cash has a very I think distinct way of taking his guys aside privately and explaining what he likes and what he does not like. You'll never see it in public. I don't think I've ever heard him call out a player in public. That's about as close as you're going to get, which I'm fine with. That's his managerial style, and clearly it works.
He took the fall for Garza, too, a young guy who again, I don't like Garza in that spot, but there's a reason why he's in that spot. It's because the Rays don't have the guys.
They got nobody else.
They got nobody else to be in that spot. So you kind of have to have perspective there. But I don't like this, but just kind of shows you where it is right now. Was it 5 losses to the Yankees by 7 runs combined?
Yeah.
It just stings. It stings because it's like you're right there. You're right there.
And so many of those runs are unearned as well.
Yeah.
Not good.
So two interesting podiums last night.
Very interesting podium. Salty. Well, as well they should be.
Yeah, the same.
As well they should be.
Same exact time.
Yeah.
At the podium, but I mean, you can't. Again, one of those awful nights in Tampa Bay sports. Awful night.
We've had some great ones, but that one will definitely go down in infamy. It's just a really. And then I just read this from Joe Buck's fan. They put this out 19 minutes ago. I guess the Bucks have put out their practice schedule for training camp.
Yep.
And Joe Buck's fan writes, once again, Bucks stiff arm some of their biggest fans from training camp practices. No practices open to the general public. A disgusting, callous, and arrogant trend by the team towards fans that supported Bucks through lost decade. Sorry, Buccaneers. There's no way to spin this.
You know what? I agree. Curious to hear your thoughts, though.
I love the Buccaneers organization right now. You know, Brian Ford is a friend of mine, and no one is more for the people and the ham and egger than Brian Ford. This policy does not reflect that. Is that a diplomatic way of putting it?
Yeah.
Seriously, I mean, Brian Ford is out there in the heat handing out water bottles.
Oh, yeah, he's great.
The COO.
He's great.
I mean, nobody does more for Buccaneer fans than him. And I'll say this. Buccaneer season tickets for the past 10 years have been ridiculously cheap. You can get a season ticket for $400.
Yeah.
So to be part of, and with that membership comes all these perks that you get training camp, you get stuff. They do tons of stuff all year long for their season ticket members. It's one of the reasons they've been voted like the best organization by their season ticket members. They're like, I think it's 4 or 5 years in a row. They're cleaning up in that regard. They're very highly regarded. And that's just from a public standpoint. I see what goes on the ground floor and see what they do. And they have so changed the way since Brian's come in, their integration within the community in terms of charity work and getting their players out there and what they do for their fans has changed dramatically. That being said, I don't like this. I don't like it. Now, there's more to it than just we're just going to give this to our members. There are, this team in particular has been very COVID crazy. Even called out by the mayor's or the governor's office a couple of weeks ago for their vaccine policy with employees. So I don't know if this is part of it. That's where it started. I don't like it. It's just the general feeling is I don't like it. You have a lot of practices. I don't see why you can't have a couple of them. I don't see why can't we have a night practice in the stadium?
We used to have that
for free for all to come.
Yep. I felt the same way about the draft party being only exclusive to season ticket members.
Yeah.
Because I will tell you, as a huge fan, when I was a kid, I went to every single one with my dad.
I think it's a mistake.
And had those memories. I went to training camp every single year. I have photos with Roberto Aguayo whenever he was a big deal around these parks. I remember
that was definitely a training camp picture.
Oh yeah, that was before you know what. But yeah, Roberto Aguayo, Jameis Winston. I mean, the list goes on and on of guys you got to go up to and meet. Very personable. And just to hold that off to the rest of the fan base. And, it's no secret. Bucs fans, including myself, we've been through a lot over the last 15 years or so. And majority, actually, if you take out just a handful of years, every Bucs fan of every age has been through a lot.
Yeah.
And, the fact of the matter is you can say the tickets used to be really cheap. Why didn't you have them then? Listen, people, it's just the way it is. The Bucs historically did not play well at home. Nobody was going to go sit out there in that heat to watch that god-awful team lose.
Yeah.
It's the way it is. I understand now you have Tom Brady. You've turned yourselves into a world-class organization the last couple years, and that's great. But, yeah, I don't like this at all. I don't like. There is no other way to spin it.
I have to believe that Brian Ford has some very good reasons for this. I understand you're building up your season ticket base and you want to be loyal to your season ticket holders and make them feel special. Like you're getting something that the general public does not. And that's good business. That's a smart business tactic. It just feels wrong in terms of growing your fan base, especially the kids.
That's what I'm saying. Like if you're expecting anybody my age to go shell out the money that you have to pay to get season tickets now, you're crazy. And to sit on the up way top probably too, where I'm just being honest, I'd rather be at home at that point.
I just, I would like to know, and I will find out from Brian, like what went into this decision. I just don't like it on its face. I don't like it. I can disagree with my friend, but I'm sure he has very good reasons for it. And I'm sure that he wrestled with this tremendously. And it kind of seems like, like I talked about Brian Alt and Matt Silverman during this whole Sister City thing, having known them for as long as I have and how they've championed this area and are great community citizens here. I really don't believe in their hearts that they were all in on that. I don't believe it. I think that was coming from the top, and they were loyal soldiers and doing what they have to do. Knowing Brian as I do, Brian's a ham and egger. He's the COO now, and he makes good money and all that stuff, but he comes from very humble beginnings. I mean, it's a guy, he once told me his success story. During his senior year at FSU, he was driving back and forth to Miami every weekend to work stadium games and to build his resume as a sports team hospitality person, and came up through the ranks. I mean, hard work, working, doing the ice machine, doing all those things, and is an ass buster and a hard worker. So he's not a silver spoon guy. So it's not that. There may be something more to it. I don't know, but it just doesn't feel right to me. It doesn't feel right. But that is what it is. There's going to be 12 practices for training camp, 8:30 to 10. So early morning. So I guess we can get out there early and watch some of it, and then do our show. Maybe we could do our show out there. I don't know. We'll find out. And there will be 2 with the Dolphins starting at 10 a.m. when the Dolphins come in for team works, and then they're going up to do joint practices with the Titans, I believe. So that's the story on that. We didn't talk about this. The Dave Portnoy thing came up. There were some interesting things that came up in the congressional. Did you write a story on that for Outkick? Somebody did, I know.
Somebody else did, not me though.
Yeah,
I believe Armando got that for us.
So who was it that asked Goodell about Dave Portnoy? He said, "I don't know anything about it."
So ridiculous. Jim
Jordan, right? Well, Goodell clearly lied to Congress, and there was, and I have to say this, and I'm in total agreement. I don't know. Do we have the audio of the congressman that basically started off there, or when he was asked, is like basically saying that we got record inflation, record gas prices. We're on the verge of World War III. There's the southern border is overrun. We have a fentanyl epidemic. What the F are our congressmen doing? Bringing Roger Goodell up to the Hill to talk about the workplace environment of one particular company in the United States of America. What the F are we doing?
Well, I don't know how any of that works, to be honest. So I'm not going to.
I'll tell you how it works. It's a bunch of Democratic congressmen that want to grandstand and take the focus off the bullshit that's happening in this country. That's exactly what it is. And it's effing ridiculous that we're even doing this. So, yeah, Jim Jordan, what question are you asking? Why is Jim Jordan even asking a question of Roger Goodell? I mean, it's all that dog and pony show with all this serious stuff that's going on. And by the way, we know Dan Snyder is a scumbag, and we know the NFL covered it up. We know damn well. What are we going to uncover here? That the NFL. Oh, by the way, the NFL is now moving to keep the Brian Flores lawsuit out of the public and move it to arbitration where they can keep everything hush hush.
That's what they do.
That's what the NFL does. I mean, don't get it twisted. It's a freaking mafia, and they want their business all kept under. They don't want any of this stuff out in the public because it's dirty.
You know what it really reminds me of?
What are you doing, Congress? Go do something where you. Good God.
I don't know. I mean, there was people asking questions about Deflategate, for crying out loud.
Well, it just shows the absolute stupidity of what's going on. Why are our congressmen asking about Deflategate and David Portnoy?
I don't.
Because this is stupid that we're even doing this.
I don't know.
But while we got him here.
I do want to listen to the audio again, because when I first heard it, I will admit I got a nice chuckle out of it.
Okay.
But here it was, the exchange between Jim Jordan and
Here's Roger Goodell lying to Congress. Charges to follow.
NFL games.
Why did you ban Dave Portnoy from?
Pardon me, I couldn't hear your question. Why do you ban Dave Portnoy from NFL games? He's a journalist. In fact, he's a sports journalist. Why is he banned?
Congressman, I'm not familiar with that issue. I'm happy to check with my staff, but I'm not aware of that.
He just lied to Congress.
Yeah, he lied.
He's like, everybody else does it. Why shouldn't I?
Hold up. You got to read the...
Mr. Goodell, do you know what a woman is? Maybe you can tell us.
First of all, calling Dave Portnoy he's a sports journalist. I guess we're loosely saying that term now.
Well, we are. Who's a sports journalist anymore?
Hold up.
Who's a journalist anymore?
You had to have seen the Team Portnoy press release that he typed up. Oh my gosh.
We got a minute left, but
I don't care if we go over. He starts it with this: Adolf Hitler, Kim Jong-un, Henry, Blage, Roger Goodell, the Mount Rushmore of despicably evil leaders. Today, Roger Goodell erased any shred of doubt that he belongs on that list after he committed perjury, lying under oath to the U.S. government. Here goes.
Adolf Hitler.
He goes off to say that Jim Jordan asked Raji a simple question. Why did he ban David S. Portnoy, a handsome journalist working hard for the American people, from NFL games and events? Pinocchio's answer was that he was not familiar with this issue and didn't know what he was talking about. We'll take big fat lies for 2,000, Alex.
I love Team Portnoy PR department. I'm going to hire them.
We're not sure what the punishment for Goodell lying to the U.S. government and American people should be, but you have to assume the death penalty is on the table. In the meantime, Portnoy will continue to defend the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution and help bring truth to all Americans.
Yes, my man.
And again, I'm laughing at it, but at the same time, I'm laughing at it in a different way. That this is the stuff that we're talking about in our government.
The frivolity.
I don't. Barstool Sports, Deflategate, Roger Goodell, football, which I've told has no really grand scheme of things, doesn't matter in the world. That's what we're talking about. I don't understand it.
That
I get a good laugh
really
out of it.
does underscore the absolute ridiculousness of this hearing. That these are the questions that are in. We're bringing Dave Portnoy, God bless him, we love him, but we're bringing him to the floor as of the U.S. Congress during the biggest national crisis maybe in our nation's history, and this is what we're spending time on. Are you effing kidding me? These are the people that it's almost as bad as that Democratic Congresswoman yesterday that basically said, hey, you people, shut up about inflation. Stop complaining about high gas prices. You're still going to take your trips. Shut up and take it. Okay. Sure. All right. That was a fun show. Thanks to TJ Reeves who joined us and all great stuff here as we broke down that cheating Nazem Kadri dude. Just awful. We'll be back tomorrow with more fun and frivolity. Have a great day, everybody. Go Rays.